the NBA should mandate that you cannot sit out nationally televised games if you're deemed healthy, and you have to plan them ahead of time. So if you're playing a League Pass game against the fucking Hornets, you can mark that one down for load management. I'm fine with that. But make sure that's literally when you go to purchase a ticket to an NBA game, it says Kawhi Leonard is not going to play in this game. Alright, real quick before we start, a few things. One, please drop a like. YouTube has pretty much stopped promoting my videos. It used to be that 80% of my views came from people who saw my videos and recommended. Now that number is down to 40%, so dropping a like will help fight the machine, I guess. So it would be really appreciated, just drop a like. And two, this video is not a copy, or I didn't get the idea from Funky Diabetic. He recently uploaded a video on the same topic. I was literally writing the script for this as he uploaded it, so yeah. Anyways.
Ben Simmons sucks.
Okay, no. He doesn't actually suck. He's pretty fucking good. But he has been really disappointing to open the year for Philadelphia. The Sixers, after a great start, are now just 7-5, and Ben Simmons is averaging just 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. And in year 3 now, with championship expectations for this Sixers team, that is just flat out unacceptable. And this has not been from a lack of opportunity as far as shots are concerned. In the 4 games that Joel Embiid, who is a 24 point per game scorer, missed, Ben put up 13 points, 18 points, 6 points, and 18 points, which is an average of less than 14 points. So he is genuinely just a 14-point scorer right now. And normally I wouldn't make a big deal of this, but now that Ben is going into his 3rd year, and he doesn't seem to have made any real legitimate improvement, it is really cause for concern. Because for this Sixers team to reach its championship aspirations, they're going to need Ben to reach his superstar potential, and with this lack of progress, it's beginning to make me question if he will ever hit that potential, or at least hit it with this team in particular. And because of that, I and many others have pondered the question, should the Sixers trade Ben Simmons? And my answer to that is yes, no, maybe, I don't know.
Can you repeat the question?
It's complicated, okay? Let's just get into it.
Absolutely incredibly with the acrobatic alley-oop.
I want to throw this shit all the way back like Alexis, Texas. Why did I say that? Back in Ben Simmons' rookie year, he had a great year, borderline all-star performance as a rookie, and he rightfully won Rookie of the Year. I really hate people that think Ben doesn't qualify as a rookie because he missed his first year due to an injury, even though that goes completely against the NBA's rules on that matter. The logic on that is that it's an advantage for a player to spend a year rehabbing while hanging out with the team, training with the team and all of that, getting professional trainers, pretty much the best care money can buy for an athlete. That's true. It is an advantage. But so is Luka, having grown up playing in the 2nd best professional basketball league in the world. Stephen Curry had the advantage of his dad being a millionaire and also one of the best shooters in NBA history. Anthony Simons went to a boarding school catered specifically towards athletes that cost crazy money. Players sometimes get advantages. That's just how it is. That's how life is. Just because you have an advantage does not necessarily mean that you should be disqualified. Anyways, back to the point of the video. Ben in his rookie year was great. He put up 16, 8, and 8, nearly a triple-double as a rookie, and the Sixers would make the playoffs for the first time since the start of their long rebuild. In those playoffs, they got by the Miami Heat pretty easily in a gentleman's sweep, but in the next round, they lost to the undermanned Boston Celtics in a gentleman's sweep themselves, mainly because Ben Simmons could not shoot to save his life. Then in the following year, the numbers went up a bit, 17, 9, and 8, shooting 56% from the field, but once again, once it came to playoff time, the Sixers would come out on the losing end. And while you could not tie that loss directly to Ben's jumper, I do think it would have made enough of a point differential that Kawhi hitting the craziest shot ever wouldn't have been the deciding factor. But I do think there was a key thing holding back Ben Simmons last year, and that was Jimmy Butler. Jimmy kept the ball out of Ben's hands, and I really think with how poor of a shooter Ben is, you really need the ball in his hands most of the time, and with Butler Butler on the court, that just was not the case. And this isn't on Butler, by the way, just a bad fit. Never really liked that trade to begin with. But now this year, with the two non-bigs in their starting lineup being two guys and Tobias Harris and Josh Richardson who really don't handle the ball that much, he is only getting 6.7 assists a game, which is a career low, as well as a career low in points per game. Which is rough because in terms of offensive weapons, this team has gotten a little bit weaker. Al isn't the scorer that Butler is, not even close. Josh Richardson is not the shooter that JJ Redick is, so outside of Embiid and maybe Tobias Harris, there is really no one on this roster who should be shooting more than Ben Simmons. While Ben's jumper is a big problem, and make no mistake, it is a big problem, an arguably worse problem for Ben Simmons is his lack of aggressiveness. When Ben was coming out of college, he was frequently compared to LeBron James for many reasons, like his size combined with his speed as a wing, his playmaking and basketball IQ. But another reason was Ben's very LeBron-esque freight train ability to just barrel into the paint and get whatever the hell he wants. This hasn't quite translated for Ben in the NBA, not for a lack of ability to do it, but a lack of him just going to it. He does go to it on the fast break, but he doesn't go to it in the half court when he really should. Ben Simmons is so big and such a mismatch that he really could get to 20 points per game without having a jump shot at all. He also needs to be averaging more than 6.7 assists a game. He's a lot better than that. If I made a prediction before the season started, I probably would have said that Ben would be averaging 9 to even 10 assists a game this year, and he isn't even getting 7. I asked this question on the podcast. Give it a listen. And I'll ask it here. If you replaced a 23-year-old Ben Simmons with a 21-year-old Ben Simmons, would you really see much of a difference? Would the Sixers really be that much worse off for it? He's improved defensively, but overall, where is the improvement coming from? And I think this slow start could unfortunately be a sign that Ben is just kind of is what he is. And I do think this slow start could be a sign that Ben just is what he is. He's 23 years old, so I am far from ready to give up on the guy. But there is a lot of cause for concern here. Now back to the title, why the Sixers should trade Ben Simmons. It is not just that he's stagnated. That hasn't helped because the reason Ben has never been a great fit around his teammates in Philly is his lack of a jump shot, and if he had improved offensively and at least developed a semi-respectable jumper in the last 3 years, then we wouldn't even be here. But the thing is, like I said, Ben has never been a great fit with this team, specifically Joel Embiid. If I had to pick the perfect point guard to put next to Joel Embiid, it would be someone like Trae Young. Very good shooter and very good playmaker. Unfortunately, Ben only fits into one of those categories, and his passing hasn't even been as impactful as you would like it to be. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons is not going to work unless A, Ben Simmons develops a jump shot, B, literally everyone else around them is an elite shooter, which is not really possible, or C, they are just overwhelmingly talented to the point where the fit does not matter, and as talented as this Sixers roster is, they're not that talented. Now, when I said yes, no, maybe, I don't know in the intro and hopefully did not get copywritten in the process, it's because with someone with as high of a ceiling as Ben Simmons, you really cannot be sure about something like this, regardless of fit. I know the title says why the Sixers must trade Ben Simmons or something like that, but I'm really not that certain about it. If that was just to get you to click on the video, welcome to YouTube. It's a much better title than why the Sixers should consider trading Ben Simmons, but proceed with caution because this dude could be a superstar, but the fit is also a concern, so maybe do it. That's a little wordy. But what I would do if I was in the position of Elton Brand, I would give Ben Simmons 2 more years or so, maybe 3, see if he improves or if the Sixers can make it to the finals, and if neither of those things happen, you have a prime Joel Embiid, who by the way will probably have a short prime due to injuries. You have an aging Al Horford, Tobias Harris, and Ben Simmons, who has, if anything, held the Sixers back. At that point, you need to trade him. Ben Simmons really needs a team around him like Giannis does, with a whole lot of shooting. Let him drive inside, overpower dudes, and kick out to open shooters. That really does not exist with this team. There's not good shooting on this team. Josh Richardson is a below average shooter. Tobias Harris is alright. Al Horford is below average for a power forward, and then Furkan Korkmaz and Mike Scott are the only shooters on this team, really. I really think it could be in the best interest of both parties here for them to separate. And as for some potential Ben Simmons trades, you got to consider the fact that this would be 2 years down the line. Damian Lillard could very well be an option unless they make some big moves, which they could do with the expiring contracts and young guys that they have. The future of Portland is not looking great, and a high volume scorer with the shooting that Lillard provides would be good for this team and next to Embiid. Maybe James Harden becomes available within the next 2 years. That could be a big stretch, but maybe. Whatever move they do, I'm sure they'll get a hell of a haul for him. He'll be in his mid-20s. At that point, you will be able to tell if he does or does not have superstar potential, but some would still gamble on it, and he does have that potential to be a franchise player in the right situation, so you can get a lot of assets for him. I do believe he can be a franchise level player, just maybe not with this Sixers team. And as for the people who say that Joel Embiid should be traded, not Ben Simmons, I do get where they're coming from because Joel Embiid is probably going to have a short prime with how much he gets injured, but I think the Sixers, with the fact that they gave Tobias Harris the money they did, signed Al Horford for the money they did, that's a sign that they're really set on winning now, and Ben Simmons is not the leading factor in them being able to do that right now. Joel Embiid is. And I don't blame them for taking that direction because Joel Embiid can be a championship #1 option. So yeah, that's why I think the Sixers should maybe trade Ben Simmons. Yes, no, I don't know. Malcolm in the middle. I've made the reference already. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.